My name is Maya Carter. I am 33 years old. This started in the least dramatic place possible. A grocery store in Boston. In the produce aisle. Under bright lights. Holding a basket full of boring adult things. Spinach. Eggs. Coffee. Dish soap. My phone lit up with my sister's name for the third time in 2 minutes. I almost let it ring. I should have, but I answered. Because old habits can be louder than common sense. The second I picked up, my sister Brielle Carter did not say hello. She said, "You are paying my rent this month." I blinked. I waited for the laugh. There was no laugh. She added, $2,600. Then she said it like it was already approved. "Dad says you make more any, so stop whining and help." I laughed once. Not because it was funny, but because my brain could not accept how confident she sounded while spending my money. "Brielle," I said, "are you serious?" Before she even answered, my phone started exploding with messages like they were all watching me from the same room. My father, Robert Carter, texted, "If you do not send it today, do not bother coming for Thanksgiving. We will tell everyone you let your sister go homeless." A second later, my mother, Elaine Carter, texted, "Remember who paid for your college. Time to pay it back." Then Brielle followed up. "I already told the landlord you would wire it by 5. Do not make me look stupid." I stood there holding an avocado while strangers compared cereal prices and argued over milk. My entire family was trying to corner me into funding a life they had volunteered me for without my permission. Then my mother made it public. She posted on Facebook. Vague and dramatic. Designed to collect pity without naming the person she was attacking. Some children forget where they came from once they start making real money. That was the moment it stopped being a family emergency and became a public shakedown. I put the avocado back, took one breath, and sent one reply to the group chat. "Good luck." I checked out, carried my bags to the car, and sat behind the wheel with the engine off while new messages rolled in. "Dad again. Do not test me on this. Mom, you are humiliating us. Brielle, the landlord already expects your transfer. Are you seriously going to sabotage me?" Sabotage. That word settled cold in my chest. Not because it hurt, but because it revealed the script. In their version, Brielle Carter was not the person who signed a lease she could not afford. I was the villain for refusing to underwrite it. The crazy part was that none of this felt new. It felt familiar in the most exhausting way. Like hearing a song you hate but already know every word to. Brielle had always been described as spirited, sensitive, still finding herself. I was described as reliable. In my family, reliable did not mean respected. Reliable meant useful. Reliable meant quiet. Reliable meant expensive. When Brielle got a credit card she could not manage, I was asked to help just this once. When she quit a job after 2 weeks, I covered her car insurance because she was in a rebuilding season. When she tried selling luxury wellness kits online and lost money on inventory stacked in our parents' dining room, I was told it would be cruel not to float her for a month or two. A month or two turned into years of invisible withdrawals. Nobody called them loans. Because loans imply repayment. What they really meant was, Maya has a steady paycheck, so Maya can absorb the damage. I called the only person who never romanticized my family dynamic, my best friend Nina Hart. She answered on the second ring. "What happened?" she asked. I told her everything. The demand. The amount. The threats. The Facebook post. Nina went quiet for a beat, then said, "Maya, this is not a request. This is coordinated extortion with Thanksgiving decorations." I laughed despite myself. Then she said the thing I needed to hear. "Do not send a dime. Keep every message. People like this get sloppy when they think shame will do the work." I stared through my windshield at a gray Boston afternoon. What if they really do tell everyone I let her become homeless? Nina snorted. "Then let them. Anyone who hears the whole story will know who the problem is. Also, nobody becomes homeless in one day because you refuse to sponsor their delusion." I should tell you something important. I was not broke. I was not cruel. I could have paid the rent. That was exactly why they targeted me. But I had just signed the final paperwork on my own condo after years of budgeting and saying no to luxuries other people treated like oxygen. For the first time in my life, my money had a destination that was not my family's chaos. If I paid $2,600, I would not just be helping Brielle. I would be renewing a contract I never agreed to but had been trapped inside for years. So I saved screenshots of every message and did nothing. Silence has a way of making manipulative people louder. Loud people make mistakes. The next morning I woke up to missed calls and a voicemail from my father that began with fake calm and ended in a shout. Maya, answer your phone. We are not playing games. Your sister is under enough stress. You will handle this today. I listened once, saved the voicemail, and went to work. I work in risk analysis, patterns, liabilities, consequences. Maybe that is why I finally saw my family clearly. They were not asking for generosity. They were trying to transfer liability. Late that morning, Brielle called from a different number. I answered because I wanted to hear how far she had gone. What is wrong with you? She snapped. I told my landlord the funds were coming from you. He gave me until this afternoon because of that. I kept my voice flat. Why would you tell your landlord I was paying your rent without asking me? She huffed like I was being difficult on purpose. Because you were obviously going to Tenine. Dad said you would. Mom said you owe us. Stop being dramatic and send it. I asked, did you put my name on anything? She paused for half a second too long. No, she said, the kind of lie that sounds like a door closing badly. I ended the call and texted her one sentence. Do not use my name with your landlord again. Less than an hour later, my father sent a group message announcing that if I came to Thanksgiving without fixing this, I should expect to be treated like a stranger. My mother added that she had sacrificed too much for me to turn into one of those selfish career women who think family is optional. Then an aunt replied, what exactly is going on? My mother immediately changed the subject. That told me something else. My parents loved public pressure, but only when they controlled the details. By late afternoon, I got the call that shifted everything. A man introduced himself as Caleb Martin, the property manager for the building Brielle rented in Providence. His voice was clipped and professional. Ms. Carter, I am calling because your sister provided your number and email as the guarantor on a rent assurance form. We were expecting a transfer today. I closed my office door. I never agreed to guarantee anything. I never signed anything. I am not paying her rent. He went quiet, then asked, to be clear, you did not authorize your name to be used in connection with her tenancy. Absolutely not, I said. If you have documents with my name or email attached, I want copies. He said he would send them. 5 minutes later, the email arrived. Brielle had not just lied verbally. She had entered my name, my work email, and an altered version of my signature into a rushed digital form, patched together like confidence could replace consent. I stared at the screen. Then I laughed once. Quietly, because the audacity was almost elegant. They had not only assumed I would rescue her, they had tried to pre-authorize the rescue. This is where the story flips. Comment twist if you saw this coming, or comment shocked if you did not. I forwarded everything to my personal email, then to Nina, then saved it in a folder labeled family. Nina called immediately. Tell me I am reading this wrong. You are not, I said. She used my name on a guarantor form. Nina exhaled slowly. Okay. No more private family drama. This is documentation territory. I replied to Caleb in writing. Stated clearly that the information was fraudulent, that I disputed any association with the guarantee, and that I wanted confirmation my name would be removed. Then I wrote one more sentence. I am not responsible for this lease, these arrears, or any representations my sister or relatives made to your office. He replied within minutes, thanked me for clarifying, and said the matter would be escalated internally. I did not tell my family. I wanted to see what happened when their guilt machine stopped responding to emotion and started responding to facts. That evening, my mother posted another quote about children who worship money but forget sacrifice. This time, a cousin commented. Did Maya co-sign something? My mother deleted the post quickly. For the first time in one of these family crises, I felt something different. Not panic. Precision. Their plan was not colliding with my emotions. It was colliding with paperwork. On Friday morning, Caleb called again. We verified you are not on the lease, and the guarantor information appears unauthorized. Your sister is currently in default. I asked, what happens now? He answered carefully. Brielle had missed payments, ignored notices, and violated a temporary arrangement. Without a guarantor, they were moving forward. 20 minutes later, my father called in a rage. He is evicting her. He says she lied. Why would you do this to your own sister? I told the truth. I said, Brielle used my name without permission. In the background, I heard my mother crying and Brielle yelling that this was all my fault because I could have just done the decent thing. Decent. Apparently, fraud was now decent if it happened between relatives. My father shifted tactics when anger did not work. His voice dropped into that rehearsed wounded tone. Maya, families survive by helping each other. You are making a legal issue out of something private. No, I said. Brielle made it legal when she forged my involvement. He hung up. By noon, my phone was a landfill of accusations. My mother said I destroyed Thanksgiving. Brielle said she would never forgive me. My father said I embarrassed them. Not. How do we fix this? Just reputation, appearances. Exactly. Later that day, Brielle left a voicemail, sobbing. If you had just sent the money like a normal sister, none of this would be happening. Not once did she say she was sorry. Late afternoon, Caleb called one last time. The building refused further extension. Brielle needed to vacate to avoid a formal fraud complaint being added to the mess. Her things were being removed because she refused to cooperate with the move-out timeline. I thanked him and hung up. A few minutes later, my father messaged. He is putting her stuff on the curb today. I could picture it. Throw pillows, a ring light, unopened packages. All of it piled on a sidewalk in Providence. I did not answer immediately. Instead, I called the one relative who always listened before choosing a side. My aunt Marissa Lane. I forwarded the documents. 10 minutes later, she called back. Maya, do not let them rewrite this. They did this to themselves. Those words felt like oxygen. That night, I drove to my parents' house for Thanksgiving anyway because I was done being treated like a hostage in my own family. I showed up with a pie, a calm face, and a folder in my bag. My mother's eyes were swollen. My father looked like rage had aged him overnight. Brielle was on the couch wrapped in a blanket like a war widow from a conflict she personally started. My father pointed to the dining room. We need to talk, I said. Great. So do I. The conversation started before the turkey even hit the table. My father shut the dining room doors like he was containing a scandal. My mother sat dabbing her eyes. Brielle sat with her arms folded, chin high, radiating indignation. My father went first. You could have resolved this quietly. Instead, you humiliated your sister, your mother, and me. I set the printed guarantor form on the table and slid it toward him. Quietly, I asked, You mean before or after Brielle submitted my name on paperwork? Before or after Mom tried to shame me on Facebook? Before or after you threatened to ban me from Thanksgiving unless I paid? My mother tried the emotional reroute. Maya, this got out of hand. Nobody was trying to hurt you. I looked at her. Mom, you posted about me publicly without naming me because you wanted people to take your side before hearing facts. That is hurting me. Brielle snapped. Can you stop acting like you are the victim? I was the one about to be put out on the street. I turned to her. Whose decision was it to lease an apartment you could not sustain? Whose decision was it to tell your landlord I would pay? Whose decision was it to use my name? She stood up so fast her chair scraped. I was desperate. she yelled. You have no idea what it feels like to be scared every month. For one tiny second, she sounded honest. Then she ruined it. And besides, she said, you owe me. My father jumped in. We leaned on you because you were stable. Brielle has different gifts. Different gifts. A fascinating way to describe serial irresponsibility. I leaned forward. Stop asking me to finance her life. Silence fell. Thick and electric. Because everybody in the room knew I was no longer participating in the old choreography. My mother whispered, we did so much for you. We paid for school. We supported your career. You did help me, I said, and I was grateful. Then I said the arithmetic out loud. I repaid my loans myself. I covered your property tax shortfall. I covered Brielle's dental bill. I loaned money for your kitchen repair that turned into a new refrigerator and patio furniture. At what exact dollar amount do I stop being a daughter and become a reimbursement program? Brielle muttered. You always keep score. I said. I keep receipts. Then my Aunt Marissa stepped in. Maya deserves witnesses. My father said, this is a family matter. Marissa said. It became a community matter when Elaine posted and Robert started calling relatives for sympathy. Brielle started crying in that angry theatrical way, where every sob sounds like a threat. Then she said the quiet part out loud. Fine. I used Maya's name because everyone said she would pay anyway. That is how it always works. If you have ever been the reliable one everyone leans on, comment reliable. If you have never been that person, comment free. Nobody spoke for a moment, because there it was, the whole rotten structure stripped naked in one sentence. My father asked, so what do you want? An apology. Then he tried to close it. We are sorry this got messy. I said, I do not want a ceremonial apology. I want terms. I will not pay Brielle's rent. I will not co-sign, guarantee, or cover debts created without my consent. I will not answer group messages designed to shame me into compliance. I will not tolerate my name being used in private, in public, or on paperwork without written permission. My father scoffed. You would call the police on your own family. If my identity is used fraudulently again, I said, I will not have to. I will just stop protecting you from the consequences. My mother whispered, where is Brielle supposed to go? Marissa answered first, maybe somewhere she can afford. I softened slightly, because unlike them, I was not trying to destroy a person. I was trying to end a system. I will help in ways that do not involve cash, I said. Financial counseling. Resume help. Apartment hunt. Then I said it plainly, but I am done funding chaos. After that, everything changed slowly. My mother stopped vague posting. My father stopped calling with commands and started sending awkward messages that began with, when you have time, Brielle moved into a smaller place. No fantasy. Just rent she could actually cover. We are not close now. She thinks I exposed her. I think she exposed herself and hated that I stopped hiding the evidence. The goal is not always reconciliation. Sometimes the real victory is structural. The manipulation stops working. The emergency pipeline closes. The person they depended on to absorb impact becomes unavailable for misuse. Family is not a lifetime subscription to your labor, your peace, or your bank account. Love without respect turns into entitlement. Help without boundaries turns into permission. And the most powerful revenge is not screaming or begging. It is stepping back, telling the truth once, and letting the people who built their comfort on your silence face life without your protection. If you want more real stories like this, subscribe and turn on notifications. The next one will hit even harder.